It has a good taste, but it's missing that punch. So I watched Black Mass a few days ago, and I haven't done a video because, well, one, I changed my room again, two, Indiana fell down, and I'm trying to fix him up, and just a bit of an emotional roller coaster recently. So I'm back, and I'm doing my review for Black Mass. Okay, the first thing that anyone cares about is how good is Johnny Depp in this, and he's fantastic. It's amazing to see the guy actually do a role that you care about, that you actually are invested in, that is actually a good character. We've been so used to the crappy Johnny Depp train that we just wanted to get off, but somehow the guy can always make you come back. And this is a fantastic return because this is definitely the darkest character this guy has ever played. Whitey Bulger in this film is an absolute monster. He is a psychopath. He has no remorse. He is like a ghoul, a leech, something that takes death even when he's not physically doing it. When he's in the room, he is taking it away. Just his presence is absolutely villainous. And Johnny Depp does a fantastic job of him. There is a scene right at the very beginning of the movie with him watching this guy eat these peanuts, and just the facial expressions, the whole look of the character. You're absolutely terrified of him in the first 5 seconds of the film. The only issue is it's not entirely from his perspective. If anything, it's kind of like a Mad Max sort of theory here, because it revolves around the people that were associated with Whitey while he's in the middle. His actions are a part of the film, but he really isn't the center point, because there is no center point in this film. Much like my review for Everest, this film does not have a single protagonist. It has someone who is the driving force or the central conduit, but there isn't a really solid cast here, or there isn't really a solid main character, because the narrative keeps jumping back and forth between one person to another and to another. And it's weird because the whole time I'm sitting there going, this is a good movie, it's really well shot, the acting is fantastic, but why am I not enjoying it as much? And it's because you can't root for anyone. There's no protagonist, there's no character you care about. Everyone in this film is an entire slime ball. Like, when we've watched movies like this one or this one, both directed masterfully by Martin Scorsese, even though these guys were criminals and bad people, you still cared about their story because, one, the dialogue was intense and absolutely hilarious. The characters were somewhat funny and you could actually kind of want to hang out with them if you were in that limelight. It made the lifestyle seem pretty cool, which is the biggest one that this film does not do. Black Mass makes criminal enterprises look awful. Not saying that films shouldn't encourage crime, but it's one of the first films in a while that really makes criminal enterprises look as they are, which is awful and terrible and filled with death and pain. And that's possibly one reason why I don't think I'd ever see this movie again, is because you just don't have a comfortable feeling throughout the whole film. As good as everything is, and as well shot as everything is, you really have this very kind of depressing feeling when you leave the theater. It's kind of like when you watch Foxcatcher, right? Fantastic movie. Uncomfortable as hell though, and you never want to see it again. So the same thing happens with Black Mass. As great as Joel Edgerton is as the FBI consultant, who is literally just a giant slime ball, every time you see him, you just feel uncomfortable and you're like, God, what a weenie. And same with Johnny Depp. As cool as he is absolutely vicious. There is actually a scene that I can't describe to ruin it, but it's when he's choking a person to death. And it's horrifying just because of the ramifications of everyone who's in the room. And it's probably the most unsettling scene in the entire film. But another thing I say about this movie is true crime stories like these, there's always a ratio of whether you were more interested in what you saw before the credits or what you see in the text to describe the events afterwards. Unfortunately, I am almost more interested in what happened afterwards than what happened during this whole story. His rise and fall is very interesting, but the problem is we don't really see it from his perspective. There's a lot of elements of the film that are kind of talked about off screen that you would have liked to have seen in person. There's some dark, creepy crap that they talk about. You're like, what? He did what? I'd love to have seen how that worked out on film. So as much as Black Mass is a well-directed film, is well acted, it has the biggest issue, which is it doesn't have a central driving force for you to care about. There's no real want for you to come back to this life and to watch this film. So in the end, my rating for Black Mass is a 4 out of 7. It's a great film, it's well acted, Johnny Depp's fantastic in it, but you just won't have this want to see it again after you watch it. You'll understand what I mean if you see it. Anyway guys, that's all for me. Hopefully Indy will be back up and fine soon, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya!